just to show you where I'm at after these games, after 52 games, I'm at 2,508. So it's an incredibly competitive deck. Hello, what is going on? Especially with a Nilfgaard. What's going on? I know, relax. I wanted to have some fun Nilfgaard experience. It's not my favourite faction. It's my least favourite, in fact. But this is a nice way of playing it. I am still, however, using the Enslaved Leader ability, which is, you know, a little bit on the obnoxious side. And I'm using Hefty Helg, which I do in Salt a lot. But it's my best effort at having a fun Nilfgaard deck. I did not create this. I did not do a single thing towards this deck. It was made by my friend Lemon. I've had a little play around with the deck and seen if there's anything I want to change, but there's nothing I want to change. So I think he's done a fantastic job. The win condition of this deck is winning round 1, bleeding round 2, and then going for a short round 3 with cards like Yennefer, which is hopefully in a very thinned deck going to consistently hit Tibor. So Yennefer is going to reveal a random unit from your deck. The idea is to just have 2 units in your deck, being the Golem and Tibor. So if it hits Golem, you're going to have a 14-point Yennefer. If it hits Tibor, it's going to be a 16-point Yennefer. Similarly, Exartheus is going to reveal a random card. Normally you'll have like one special, so it might hit your remedy or something like that, which would be a little bit unfortunate, but you've got a good opportunity to hit your Tibor or indeed hit your Golem, which again is a lot of points. It's going to be 18 on Tibor or 16 on the Golem. You can then, as your final play, use Vilgefortz on one of your own units, which is going to make Tibor or Golem come out from your deck and not, importantly, trigger their deploy abilities. Because that's the big downside to these cards, right? Tibor is going to summon the top unit from your opponent's deck, and Golem is going to reveal the top unit from your opponent's deck and damage self by its power. So, obviously, if you play these from hand, they have a massive downside, whereas if you can summon them through Vilgefortz, they lose that downside. So it's a really nice finishing play. And a 3-round or 3 or 4 round, round 3, really, really strong, especially if you can keep this Enslaved Leader ability, which is seizing a 6 strength unit. You might notice the omission of 1 Triss Merigold. Now, that is, of course, because I'm using Yennefer. But for real, you can't have Triss and Yen in the same deck. It's not going to end well. You've got to pick one, mate. Don't go for both. You can't put your feet in too many puddles or feet in too many pies. It's going to end badly for you. Believe me, because I've been there, I've done it, and I've got the t-shirt. But on the real, the reason we're not doing it is because Yennefer's boosting, so she's more consistent. A lot of the times, Triss won't find that much value in some matchups because she's damaging. But, moreover, essentially instead of Triss, what I'm doing is I'm using Roach, which is thinning our deck even more, and it's just making it a lot more consistent that these plays are going to work. I found what can happen if you do use Triss, that the consistency can be really terrible, and actually, you can still win round 3 almost all the time if your deck plays correctly, even without Triss. So this is sort of like a win more card, if you like. You really don't need this card, in my opinion, and it just makes mulligans a little bit more awkward. Your early round hands a little bit more awkward, and most importantly, the consistency of the deck is down. And Roach is really nice as well, because even though it's 1 more brick in your mulligans, Roach is not the worst card to keep in your hand round 1, and then you can play it out round 2, which is going to help your bleed. So Roach is really good. Also, because you want to win round 1 at all costs, it's just helping that tempo swing that you're looking for. So obviously that's our finishing cards we've talked about, but it's important to talk about how you're going to thin your deck efficiently. And there's a few ways of doing it. I mean, we've got a ton of tactics cards, and what that means is I'm just playing 2 units in the bronze category. That's the Imperial Brigades and the Vendor Elites. So, if I use my Vigo here, it's going to create and play a 1 power copy of a bronze unit. It's just going to show me those 2 bronze units, and every single time I am going to pick the Imperial Brigade. So, the other unit I'm using, like I mentioned, is the Vendor Elite. This card can consistently play for 9, 10, 11 points for 5 provisions, because it's going to boost itself by the number of tactics cards in your hand. So obviously I've got a ton of tactics cards, so this card is a really nice option, and it just makes our round 1 and round 2 a lot better having access to this card. The most important thing with this deck is the mulligans. You don't want to brick. That's the main thing round 1, right? Do not brick. Obviously Tibor and Golem are cards I want in my deck for round 3, but as I say, the most important thing is to thin our deck round 1 and not brick. So obviously this is a forced mulligan. I don't want this card, but it's not a good hand because I've got no Vigo, no marching orders, no Menno. So, and I've obviously got the Tibor and the Golem. So we've drawn pretty badly. Let's see what we hit here. Now, there's a very strong argument to stop here because I'm going to brick my hand, but equally, I need a way of thinning. I might end up hitting Roach, which would suck, but let's just ditch Tibor. And I don't find a way of thinning, so it's a really bad round 1 hand. So we're pretty much going to try and rely on Hefty Helge here, which is a little bit scary against an Araka Swarm deck that could easily have a, predatory dive. So we'll just lead with the Vendel Elite here. Obviously Hyperthin, super high rolling your mulligans with the amount of bricks, but no sign of Vigo, Menno, and of course the Marching Orders that plays these two cards is going to make it pretty awkward for us moving forwards here. Obviously I would like to put Hefty Helge down. I'm a little bit scared of dive, but I would also make a strong argument. He's probably going to have gone straight for his dive if he had it. At least I would have. I'd find this hard to resist, right? So I think we should be fine to just risk it and put our Hefty Helge down. Of course, Roach is going to come out as well for a little bit of tempo, which is really nice in round 1. It is mainly there for the thinning, but the extra tempo it gets, because we do want to win this round, is really nice. So it doesn't look like he does have the answer to my Helge. What I do want to do now is just try and stay ahead of him and deny the pass. But as you can see by my hand, I'm not going to be able to do that. There's no card here that gets me ahead. I'm pretty sure in saying I'm 11 points down, 9 points here. Yeah, I've not got anything. So we'll go for the diplomacy and see if he... I mean, he might not want to pass, right? I mean, what have I got here that's decent? Unfortunately, it is going to be the Griffin, right? Which is a 5... It's just 5 points here, which is pretty bad. Bridge Troll's pretty terrible. Less than ideal with the odd Griffin there, but it's 5 points, and obviously we get the buffs on our Helge, which I'm just going to leave the damage floating here, be a little bit greedy. And as I say, my hand's very awkward. There's not really a lot I would like to use here, I must admit. I think we can kill this Bargeist here. There's not really much else I want to do here, so... I've obviously wasted a bit of damage, but it might just make him play a little bit more awkwardly. I could have gotten ahead of him and prevented the pass if I sunk damage in somewhere else, but I think we do want to push this somewhat aggressively. My hand is really awkward, honestly. We'll go for the battle prep here. I get a couple extra points here. And... I mean, I do want to prevent the pass, but equally, my hand's really bad. So I'm not actually that bothered if he does pass, and I'd rather just use this Helge damage. So even though it looks like I maybe could have passed, I maybe could have just played this. I feel like I was never going to win this round otherwise. My hand was super awkward, and my Hefty Helge just does what she does. He didn't have the answer, so I win the round. I really don't like this card, man, but got to do what you got to do, man. It is what it is. It's a great card. I just think it's a little bit busted, in my opinion. So obviously, again, don't want Tibor. I find the War Council. I think, again, I've kind of got to risk this. I might hit an Imperial Brigade, which is going to be really unfortunate, but Menno, Marching Orders, all of these cards, it's just these two cards I want to miss, right? I think I've got to risk it. I obviously could maybe find one of them with War Council. I could find Menno into Marching Orders, into Vigo, which would do the trick. So you could argue that I don't need to do this. But I'm gonna do it, and we don't hit a brick, but we don't find one of the cards I'm looking for. But this gives my Vendel Elite some value. You're always going to push here as well, right? You're always going to push. We're going to lose in a long round to most of these decks. There's the possibility, of course, of going for like a Vilgefortz on this. I think we'll just go for the War Council and try and thin, hopefully. Okay, so this is perfect. You'll see the ability of the thinning, or the thinning potential here, because you can play Menno. We played War Council now into Menno, into Marching Orders, into Vigo, which is going to always hit our brigades. And obviously if I had Roach, still Roach would come out here as well. So this is normally a play you're going to make turn 1. Obviously I just didn't have access to any of it. So I've thinned my deck perfectly now. So I do kind of want to start thinking about passing now that I've thinned. If I do get a pass opportunity, I'd probably take it. But I would imagine he probably prevents me from passing. So I can just put down this tourney joust and this battle preparation for some low tempo plays. There is also an argument here to offensively Vilgefortz this, because it's going to bring Tibor out. It's pretty reasonable as a tempo play. To start off with, I am just going to play a little bit slow, do my thing. But I could go for a Vilgefortz on this. And then also enslave something. Like, let's say it pulls a Noon Wraith out, for example. Which it definitely could pull a Noon Wraith out. I can enslave the Noon Wraith potentially. Got quite a few options I could do here. So he finds the Lacerate, which I mean, I could have played around a little bit better with this elite. So I've wasted 2 points there. Let's just do this with the Tourney Joust. A lot of time you are going to find yourself going into the last round down a card. It's obviously a big decision if I do go for the Vilgefortz here. I think it's kind of tempting, honestly. It's a lot of tempo, right? I get essentially 15 tempo plus T-Ball coming out is 18. It's just then whatever he gets. So it's 18 tempo with whatever he gets. And I've got the opportunity to possibly enslave as well. So it could be like a 30 tempo play, right? Which is no joke. But I am also incredibly far behind. And I would probably use my lead ability if I was to go for it. As you can see here, though, my Triss... sorry, my Yennefer, definitely not Triss. My Yennefer's guaranteed to hit this here. I am pretty scared of Glusty, but I am 15 points behind. Am I ever going to get it out of him? I have my doubts, honestly, if I ever will. I think I'm just supposed to pass here, man. Vilgefortz offensively is still going to be really good in the future rounds. It's obviously better on Goliath. This is what you're going to find happens. This is where Hefty Helge is normally better used round 2 and this round 1. Now, obviously against Glusty and against monsters, like a short round 3 is a little bit more difficult than other factions, but hopefully we can get away with it. So I've got a Tourney Joust and Golem in my deck, which is probably about perfect. Exartheus then is not guaranteed to hit this. It could hit the Tourney Joust, but the chances are, you know, you've got a 2 in 3 chance you're going to hit what you're looking for. So I'm pretty sure I'm always supposed to bribery here to look for his Ozeril. But you could also make an argument... No, it's about all I can really do. You could make an argument I could use Diplomacy first and find like a Lava or something. I think we'll do that. Fortunately, that's all pretty trash. I mean, the Harpy Egg's not bad, right? Because I can Vilgefortz it. I can Vilgefortz this Harpy Egg. So I just need to not buff this up. I can also eat it, right, with his Indraga Warrior and his Bargeist here. It's probably not bad then. Yeah, so this card, a little bit lackluster, as is the Diplomacy. But obviously, in a few weeks, you're going to have Amnesty, which is just a pretty crazy card for 6 provisions, which will be very good in combination with Hefty Helge as well, for sure. So we find Goldia or Imrith. Imrith playing for slightly more points. I think Goliath's a little bit too risky, right? Because he could kill it and get a unit, so we'll let him move. I've never really understood the use of the dominance on this card. Set a unit's power to 7. When's that ever going to be good? Really? I mean, okay, sometimes, but you're not going to have dominance when it's going to be good? I don't understand. So I don't understand the dominance on this, like why that's a thing. I don't really get it. I don't really get it, mate. It's not looking great. This is a tough matchup for us, for sure. I mean, we don't want to go too tall. But I'm always going tall anyway, so I guess I'm just Bargeisting. Like, we're always going super tall. Pretty sure we're screwed, right? My bleed round 2 just didn't go well enough. Monsters is one of those tough ones. I guess you could also argue I just didn't put enough pressure on him round 1. I gave him a chance to pass when I could have pushed him a bit more aggressively. We'll see if I find the Tourney Joust or if it goes to plan here. So it does go to plan, which is nice. I do still, of course, have my leader ability as well. No way to really line it up, though, unfortunately. With no Helge. No Tourney Joust. This is always playing a unit. So we deny the dominance. I mean, I'm pretty far behind. This is obviously my enslaved target now. Guess I just take it now before he buffs it. Or eats it, potentially, right? We hit T-ball this time. We are now ahead. Glusty still to come, though. And obviously that stings a lot as well, because he's got his Imler Affair. So Vilgefortz here is going to play for 19 plus whatever, whereas here it's going to play for... what, 11 less points? I'm pretty sure it's always better. Oh! Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's always better to use on one. Thing. Any reason to eat here? Not really. No. So it does look like we lost to Glusty, but not by that much. It was a good effort, honestly. Yes, we lose by 2 points, a card down. So hopefully you can see, like, the deck's actually pretty much sick. Okay, let's see how we do against Lippy. I can't say I've actually played this matchup before. Again, don't brick your hand. Don't get too greedy with your mulligans. Sometimes you might need to, but like here I've got my thinning options, right? So I'm always stopping here. The last game I really didn't have that much in the way of thinning, so I felt a little bit better about doing it. It doesn't really make a difference if I start with Vigo or if I start with the Vendel. I'm not playing around poison in this matchup, so let's just start like this. Against poison, you'd start with Vigo. If you're playing against Swears, you'd maybe start with this. So Vigo's always going to be our next player here, as he does have the assimilate for some of this kind of stuff.
What is truth if not an illusion?
You can also play Vigo on the back row. I've been always playing him front row, but I guess you should play him back row and then this. I've played like 25 games or so with this deck, so I'm still not like playing it perfectly. I think I've pretty much got the hang of it, but there's certainly a couple of things such as that I'm not doing perfectly. I'll just take the assassination here, right? Almost get full value. I could also lock though and War Council to try and find Hefty Helge. But then again, I want to probably bleed him. I don't know if I'm supposed to bleed Lippy, really. Pretty sure you just don't win in a long round. And I should still beat him in a short round. So I think I need Hefty Helge for next round. Let's play it sensibly. It's always better to just leave this lock floating, because it will make him play more awkwardly. Or make them play more awkwardly, I should say. We'll go for the diplomacy here with nothing good to target. Obviously winning round 1 is the most important thing, so maybe I am just supposed to try and find Helge. There's no guarantee I'll find it either, right? Unfortunately, Marching Orders hits Yennefer, so Marching Orders is not what we're looking for at the moment. When I've got Yennefer in hand, though, it will give me one of these two. That's another reason where Triss can be awkward. Like, if you imagine Triss in this opening hand, it's just like one less card you can actually play. I guess we'll look for it. So I am given the chance for it. I guess we'll take it, man. Just make sure I win the round, right? Like, I've still got Ceresfield, Carl, etc. to come. So I have obviously wasted a point by not putting Hefty Helge down, but he's got the answer anyway, so yeah, whatever. One of the few decks in the game that does have an answer to her. Move the top card in your deck to your graveyard. That's incredibly risky. Everything else is absolute trash. Should we risk it? Bye-bye, T-Ball. You ready? Marching Orders! Yeah, whatever's fine. Just means... yeah, it's actually fine. It's not the card you want to hit. Does this not shuffle your deck? Did I know that? Damn, you see? Not playing it perfectly. I knew it was on top of my deck. I knew it was marching orders. But I didn't know that, but I should have. I could turn Justice, right? Seeing as marching orders is gone, I've not really got anything better to use.
The Empire will be victorious.
I've got 2 cards left that I'm happy to play. I mean, Exartheus is never that bad. You can also play this if it's going to help you win the round, but we could, of course, seize his Ceres for that extra tempo as well. Pretty sure I will do that, honestly. Seems pretty funny. So space for what, 6? Space for what, 4? Leading round 1, probably not the best idea, but obviously I just want that Ceres. Leading round 1, going second, sure. Going first, very debatable. Okay, Igni's me, that's fine. Obviously this means you can't Igni me later for 1,000,000 points. It's actually really good. May I get a bit of value here? I think he would have used the other bear if you had it. How long ago did he play the bear? He Ceres'd first. I'm pretty sure you'd always play the other bear first, right? Maybe I'm wrong though. Maybe I should just take this.
I never miss.
I can play both these cards, particularly Exartheus, right? It's just gonna... I mean, Exartheus is pretty sketch. I could play both of these, man. T-Ball will be fun in the deck on his own. Hammond coming in now. We just need to win this round, especially because I've used leader ability, right? We're kind of all in on it. Well, he's not got Vilcar. Can't complain so far. There's something I did wrong, right? Oh yeah, I knew that it was going to hit marching orders. Which is not marching orders isn't the end of the world. It just means these cards might get stuck in my deck when you would be able to thin them out of marching orders. Obviously, if it hit something that wasn't thinning, I think marching orders is my last thinning card left. It could have helped a lot. Can we find Yennefer, which is great. This is a 7-point card here, right? We'll keep T-Ball and we'll mulligan him next round. I am just going to pass since I got his Ceres out of him. I don't think I can really push at all. I use leader as well, right? So we'll see, man. Was stealing Ceres the correct play? I'm not sure I would have won that round without using leader, and stealing Ceres seems fine. He's bricked his hand. So that's 5 points less next turn on his Lippy. So we're always going to mulligan T-Ball here. We want to just find the Vendel Elite. That's going to be pretty important. Yeah, this is the card we need, right? I find the Vilgefortz, it's just this Vendel Elite. Which it looks like it's wanting to stay in my deck. It is. That is a nightmare. That's again the marching orders here picks this out, right? So I'm not showing you the full thing of it, but if I had the marching orders here, I'm marching orders, Vendel Elite, and then normally you've got a special, T-Ball and the Golem. But obviously sometimes things can go wrong where your game plan doesn't go perfectly. So it's a bit unfortunate. It just means I've got to hope I high roll and my Exartheus doesn't hit this or this. And I've got to then hope my Yen wins the 50-50. And it means I'm more likely to want to Vilgefortz to his side of the board as well. Hammond would deal with this. Okay, this went badly. I shouldn't have gone for that, right? Try just Lippy. I'm not used to playing Nilfgaard, guys, alright? I wouldn't have done that with my trees. I was hoping for Hammond, right? It's pretty bad in this matchup, but obviously a bear would have been 7 points still. And also I've taken away my value here. It's a shame I can't kill this, man. Don't think it's looking great, everyone. Obviously, if I put Lippy back row, this is all going back into my deck. Guess you could make a strong argument the ship could be better. Ship would now be dead, so guess I was right. Just in case he's got more removal in his hands that he's wanting to use, because I've not seen the stunning blow yet. My only battle preparation target is T-Bor or the Vendor Elite. We just got to high roll it right here. We might get away with it. Unfortunately, battle preparation is playing super bad as well with this hand.
There will be rain.
Yep.
Or frost.
And that's a low roll. That was a 1 in 3. If it played this, I would have thinned it out. Not that would make a difference because these only hit units. But yeah. So that's 9 points I've wasted. Let's try again.
You crossed the wrong sorceress.
Okay, so this one actually finds its value. The question is, do I want to risk the Vilg on my own side? Pretty sure I do, right? Let's be honest.
This dance you will never forget.
My blade.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm getting some pretty terrible cards here. These battle preparations are cards you definitely want to play round 1. They're the worst cards for this. Obviously, if I had my assassination, that would have been half decent. Vendor Elite would have been half decent, but yeah, it is what it is, man. So we're even going into. I've got a play on him. Obviously, we denied his Ceres as well. It's probably Vildkar last play, right? Oh, it's Totem. Wow, this guy's. It's not gone well for him. Because I hit the Ceres, right? I stole the Ceres, which means his Manta doesn't find him, the Shield Maiden. So actually, the Ceres play wins us this, right? Well, does it, actually? Oh god, I forgot about this. So, Vilgefortz on Yennefer plays for 3 tempo, which puts me at 35. So I need a 9-point play. So in other words, this loses, this wins. And this is why... Obviously, I'll repeat, marching orders would have stopped this happening, right? Because it would have thinned this out. My deck would still have 2 cards in, but one would be a special, and one would be this. Here we go.
You asked for it. Give no quarter.
Ooh, baby.